YouTube as well. All right, guys, so just a heads up. What we're going to be talking a little bit about today, and some of you guys who do some other training things with me, you've seen some of this before, some of this activity, but it might be a refresher for you, which is going to be using your calendar. If you use Google Calendar, if you're using any other kind of calendar, you can probably still do this, but I'm going to show you on Google Calendar, if that makes sense. Because to me, Google Calendar is a better tool for it, because Google Calendar also holds your contacts and other things. And just put a yes in the chat if I've trained with you on this before when I mentioned it, because I know some people in here I've trained with this before. Using your Google Calendar as a contact manager as you're going through your day. And the reason why it's important is because I want to make sure that you guys are getting this, because there's still so many people that I'm talking to that's like, oh, I need a contact manager. And it's like, I know that sometimes that's just something that you're throwing out there because it's kind of like it's this behavior that sometimes we have when we don't want to do the next thing, which is make a call. So we have to, we got to get our CRM in place, and we got to get our funnel in place, and we got to get our email campaign in place. And all the while, we haven't made any phone calls. And again, we know that if you don't make any dials, typically speaking, you don't make any dollars, if that's fair to say. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this now. If you got a clean cut version of, hey, when I go and make my calls during the blitz or any other time, when I go to make those calls, boom, I got my contact manager open. I'm rolling with it. It's getting done. If that's your scenario, then maybe this is not going to be helpful to you, right? You already got that part of your procedure done. That's fine. But if you're saying, when I go to make calls, I'm spending too much time making calls and then documenting, you're writing on tablets of paper in front of you, you're taking notes on scraps of paper and trying to figure out what to do with it afterwards, right? If you do it this way, even if you say, I'm going to do this because it's the simplest way to do it, and then cut and paste it to your CRM later on, you could do that as well. So there's several ways that you can use this information. You could use your Google Calendar as your CRM, or you can use it as you're making calls from your calendar and then just cut and paste it to your CRM afterwards. And now you don't have to do any physical writing, and everything's electronic at that point, which at some point we're all going to have to get in the world of business to business, right? Yes or yes? If you're doing B2B, you're going to have to make your business electronic. If not, you're not going to move at the pace that you should to make a lot of money. It's very difficult to make 5 figures in your business when you're documenting everything on paper, because that just takes too long to convert things. When it's electronic, cut and paste, boom, you're done, right? So I'm going to show you guys how to do that, how to create an event and turn your prospect into an event. And I'm going to use some people on here as an example of doing that. Some people that I know that I work with, that I know I can laugh and joke with, and nobody takes it personal. So that's the good thing about me knowing some of you guys personally, is I don't have to worry about anybody, acting like I'm picking with them. So, Anthony going to be one of them, because I deal with him on a weekly basis, and I'll probably find a couple other people I can mess with as well. And Sharanda's going to be here, doing her part and all this as well, because she deals with the calendaring and the CRMs and all that stuff. For those that are saying, well, I don't have a contact management system, I don't really know how to use one. Again, guys, this is just a transparent conversation. And for those that work with me in any aspect, whether it's just this call or whether it's any other things outside of this, y'all know that I'm going to just give it to you straight. And I mean, how you feel about it, I mean, you can deal with your feelings, right? Or like we talked about this past weekend, own your own feelings, right, with that. But I'm going to give it to you straight, because if I don't, then I'm not helping you. The bottom line is, when you're doing business solutions, again, something else that's fast-paced, not me recruiting Barbara, not me recruiting Sharanda, not me recruiting Adrian, right? That's B2C, that's business to customer. When I'm doing that, I don't need a contact management system, so to speak, because I'm dealing with one customer at a time. When I'm doing B2B, business to business, you need a contact management system or some kind of task manager to keep your things lined up in, to make sure that you can follow up appropriately. You can send emails through a system, and you're not doing one-off for everything. So if this makes sense to you, just put a 2 in the chat so I know I'm talking to the right audience. So that's a little bit what we're going to be talking about here today. Hopefully it's helpful to you guys as we move into the new year, being able to use your calendar in this sense. for those that have taken any of my organizational trainings, whatever, free or paid, you know, I'm really big on Google being a main foundational connector, because you can put your contacts in Google, you can email through Google, you can organize your calendar through Google, you can create forms and documents through Google. You can do so many things through Google without going anywhere else. You can literally run your business through all of Google's free services and just take advantage of the free stuff, if that makes sense. So that's what we're gonna be doing here today. And if anybody I've helped with this before has any comments when we're going through this that used it and saw where it's been beneficial, if you could speak up and say that at some point during the training, that'd be very helpful, because it would allow other people in here to say, okay, somebody else has used this. It's not him just throwing this at us for no apparent reason. So with that being said, let me check and see if Sharanda is available. She is. She's somewhere on there, I fear. I know she was taking a phone call, so I didn't want to bring her up until I knew she was done with that. So, Sharanda, if you want to go ahead and do your introduction, and then we'll get going, get right into everything, that'd be fantastic.
All righty. Well, good evening, everybody. Happy holidays. We're almost there. Almost there. So I'm Sharanda Ivy here in Byron, Georgia. Been with Legal Shield about 9.5 years. I'm a 50K ring earner, CDLP certified trainer, recognized as #1 field trainer for 2021 and 2019. #2 group opener last year. Working cross-selling with small business plans, but doing it all in this space. We personally wrote over 1,000 memberships, heading to about 2,000. And we're Emerald Elite with the company. Last year, we were number 49. So that was phenomenal. Knocked out some goals like that. But I'll just focus here on this space, in the CDLP space. The opportunity is just phenomenal, you know. And so for those that are focused on this space, definitely keep going. It's about 1,000 companies open every day, Monday through Friday, so you'll never run out of prospects. You know, it's not stressful here. So with that being said, I turn it over to you, Dunbar.
All right. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Thanks for joining the people on YouTube as well. Appreciate you guys all. I know y'all can't see them, but I can see them on my other screen. So, Robert Dunbar, been with Legal Shield almost 14 years, been training almost 8 years, trained in different areas. B2B is where I have landed as far as, you know, wanting to leaving my career, meaning I started in that networking realm and did that for about 7 years, and realized after I got to a certain age that doing network marketing just wasn't a good fit for me, but business solutions was. So I moved into that space, and I love B2B. I love providing services for businesses. That's more of a craft for me than doing B2C. So that's why I enjoy the B2B marketplace. Done the group thing, the level 1, level 2 trainings, and landed on doing the CDLP training, which is where I stopped my process in training is to help this area, because it's a niche market. I felt like there was a lot missing in the training here, because we were getting the certification training. And once it was a few different trainers that all felt the same way, we came together and said, you know what? Let's create a Facebook page. Let's create a weekly training. Let's help these people out to get certified, and saying calling trucking companies are different than calling regular companies. So that's what we've been here helping people do, for I guess almost 4 years now. Actually more than that now, I believe, because we started with a regular audio training. So thanks for that, for those who've been sticking with us this entire time. Some of you guys have been with us all the way from the audio all the way through the Zooms, and it's been fantastic. It's been great. So thanks for joining us again. We're looking at, we're going to be ending another year here together. So hopefully when you start your new year, you come up with some things that will make it 2003, double, triple what it was in 2022. So I know that Sharanda uses the calendar as well to do her different things. So she's probably going to be chiming in with some different tips and things on using your calendar to keep everything together. But I promise, guys, you know, y'all heard this repetitiously through me, that keeping your calendar organized when it comes to you making your calls and things like that will keep your anxiety levels down. keep your stress levels down. It will make you feel much more organized, and you'll get to your calls better. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of screen sharing today, taking you through just a couple of processes you can do on your calendar to make calling a lot more simple, so you don't have to be jumping around and doing all these different things. So if you guys are ready, just put ready in the chat. All right? What time is it right now? 8:52? All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here real quick. All right, let's see. Let's go here and just go to, let's go to a Tuesday. Let's do a Tuesday, right? Don't worry about all this other stuff, guys. It's just stuff I throw in here to do examples and all that kind of stuff. I'll probably be pulling some of this stuff down and playing with it here. And I'm not going to concentrate on your sleep time and your work time and all that kind of stuff. What we're going to be concentrating on today is using your calendar to make your particular calls that you need to make, and how to turn that particular prospect into an event on your calendar so that you can keep up with that person in general, right? So I'm going to show you one example, and then I'm going to create one in front of you, and then show you how you can add different things to it to make sure that things are in place that you may need to have in place here. So, all right, so let's go to, I think the most common one I have that I've got some things written in. Let's take, right here. So you guys will get an example of, so this, of course, on your calendar is an event. We talk about Google Calendar, right? For anybody just joining us. This is an event, right? And I can edit it right here, or I can click this edit event button, and I can go in here. And let me go ahead and create an annotation so y'all can see my cursor a little bit better. So just follow the little red dot here. So I'm inside this calendar event on Google, right? And if anybody is saying I'm not familiar with Google Calendar, I've got all kinds of free training on setting up Google Calendar that you can look at any time. It's recorded, it's on YouTube, or you can just email me and I'll send it to you. So if you need to know any particulars about Google Calendar, I have all of that stuff already created that you could just take a look at no cost to you. So right now, though, I just want to get into kind of the meat of setting up an event as a client. So this is considered an event. And what this is, right, the name of the company, which is Aaron, the location that it is in Jacksonville, and this is particularly the person on my team who works this account for me, because I don't really do a lot of my own accounts anymore, because I just have other things that I have to do with my time. So I've turned a lot of stuff over to either field trainers or people on my team or whoever the case may be. This person is who handles this account. This is how I set it up. You can verbalize yours or set it up however you want that's convenient for your preference. I'm just giving you one example of how I get it done. So this is the name of the account, the location, the person working that account, and then I had here the last time that account was seen or called on, right? October 31st, 2022, and whatever your next appointment will be, that's what you will put in there. And I'm going to do that here so you guys can see me do it like visually here. This obviously doesn't repeat unless it was a repeating appointment. It's going to be on do not repeat. And then down here, I'm going to have notifications to remind me of this appointment that I may have. Also, here's the address. So let me tell you this, for those that use Waze, put a W in the chat, right? If you use Waze GPS at all when you're moving around in your area. So what's great about Google and Waze is that Google connects to Waze. So if you have Google Calendar and you go into Waze, it'll ask you, do you want to connect Google Calendar with Waze? If it doesn't do that, go into the settings and do it yourself. And what's good about that is when I have an appointment, if I have to be somewhere and it's on my Google Calendar for an event, say I'm going to do an enrollment or a safety meeting or going to knock on the door of this company and I put it on my calendar, what happens is because I have this address in here, when I go sit down in my vehicle and I cut Waze on, Waze automatically pulls this up as the place I'm going because it's close to that time and it knows that that's my next appointment. Does that make sense? So it automatically connects. This is why I like using these systems and these apps. And again, Waze is free and Google Calendar is free. So this is not anything that you're paying for. This is all free. So when I get in my car, if I got into my car and I had to be at this place at 10 o'clock and I got in my car at 9 o'clock, because I don't have any other appointment between 9 and 10, Waze just assumes I'm on the way to this appointment. So Waze is going to say, are you going to Erin? I'm going to say yes, and it's going to pull the address up because it's connected to Google Calendar, and it knows where I'm going, right? If that makes sense, put a 5 in the chat. Here are my notifications. If I want to add more, I can add as many as I want. 5 minutes before the appointment, 10 minutes before the appointment, I can click add notification, and I can put minutes, hours, days, weeks, whatever I want to put here to notify me of this appointment coming up. I color code my appointment right here. So if you're saying, hey, my Legal Shield appointment for CDLP, because you could color code CDLP versus regular group opening, right? So if you're doing this and you're saying my CDLP appointments are going to all be green, you're going to make that appointment green. That way when you're looking at your calendar, all green appointments, you know that those are your CDL appointments, right? So now you can come down here and I take the same verbiage from up here and I paste it down here, right? I put a couple of spaces and now you see this is from the inception of this appointment here. March 12th of 2019 overview, right? Terry Roman stopped by this location and set the appointment for April 26th, 2019. You guys see where I'm taking notes? Put a 6 in the chat where you see where I'm note taking in this appointment. This is now my list of things. So I guess my chronological order of how this appointment has been going. 3/12/2019, 4/22/2019, 4/26/2019. I keep adding to this. So now when I go back to this account to go service it, whatever I'm going to do to it, I can see everything that happened in here, which now makes this is now making it a contact management system for me, right? This is what I'm doing. This is managing one of my contacts in my system. So all my details are here. When I turn this over to this young lady, guess what? I don't have to explain what's happened with the company because it's all going to be here. So when I go to turn this over to this person, so say for instance, you're going to have somebody else work your group. Say for instance, you're going to turn this group over to somebody else. It's just as simple as me saying, hey, Sharanda, can you help me out with this account? They have a location in Georgia. She says, sure. What's the information for the account? All I got to do is go to add guest and then add Sharanda in there as a contact. And now this appointment is going to go to Sharanda and she can now look at all these details. Just that simple, I have turned this account over to her. I can still see it on my side. Sharanda can still see it on her side. And now she don't have to ask any questions about what's happened with this group. She can look and see all the way from 3/12/2019 all the way down to 10/31/2020, which was the follow-up call. How you set this up down here is totally up to you, right? The details you put in here, that's up to your preference. What you need to remind yourself of things, that's all things that you decide on your own. So, because it's going to be your reminders or whoever else is looking at this. This is just how I choose to do it in here because this is how I do all my accounts. So I've got documented enrollment. Terry Roman by herself, she took them breakfast, right? If she calls me and says, this is what happened on this appointment, I'm going to go down here and say, right? And you see I've got this bold. I always have the appointment in bold, and then the response to what happened I have is not in bold. But that's my preference. You can do it how you want. I can say, Terry served breakfast. Excuse me. I know I'm spelling stuff wrong. I'm moving too fast here. Trying to get through this as quickly as I can here. And I got it on bold. Lord have mercy. All right, let me try that again. Terry served breakfast for 7 employees and got 2 memberships, right? And I can say double, right? She got double plans, boom, right? And as far as CDLP, in my errands accounts, there is CDL that goes in there because they pick up furniture and drop it off. So they drop it off to you when you order it, and if you don't pay it, they repo it with the truck. So they actually have drivers driving box trucks. Some have CDLs, some don't, but remember, it doesn't matter with our CDL plan, whether they have a CDL license or not. If they're driving an errands box truck to drop furniture off or repo it, they can still use our plan because they're driving commercially, so to speak, right? And that's the training for another day, but most of y'all know what I mean by that. So that will be the notes on that particular appointment. And then I make the next appointment, whatever that next appointment is up here, that's what I put down here as the next appointment, and then it's gonna pop up when it's time for that appointment to pop up. So that's pretty much how I use this as a CRM. And every one of my events this is that account in general. So let's go ahead and move this to a different day. Let's move this to Tuesday the 13th, tomorrow. So Tuesday the 13th, that's going to be the next appointment from 10 a.m. to 10:10, right? December 13th, I'm just going to do a follow-up call right here. So I'm just doing another example. I'm going to copy that, drop down a couple steps, and drop it down here, right? 10/31/22, I'm going to change that to 11/13, 12/13/2022, follow-up call. So I know that that's the next thing that I have to do, right? The next thing that I have to do is the follow-up call. So when I go to this account, I know that's what I'm doing. If I wanted Sharanda to follow up because we were workout partners or we split groups, and I'm like, hey, something came up, I got busy. All the appointments I had for that day on my calendar, I could literally go on each one of them and then tag Sharanda on them and say, Sharanda, I can't make my calls for the day for the groups that we have together because an emergency came up. Can you follow one of them? Do you have time? And Sharanda may say, yeah. Just send them over to me. I can add her to those, and then they're going to go over to her Google Calendar. And all she has to do is look at it and say, okay, this is the account. He was doing a follow-up call. Okay, great. This is what happened on the last call or the last meeting or the last follow-up. She reads the note, and then she makes the call. Just that simple for me to pass that to somebody else because it's in my system, and I can simply send it to them. So much easier to work this account this way in my system, and it's free. So I'm not paying anybody for anything. And even when I connect it to something like Waze, so if it's somewhere I have to be, it's still free, right? And I'm gonna show you some more things with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and save it. Right, so let me see. Let's go to the 13th, December 13th, which is tomorrow. So here it is down here in green. So this is that appointment right here that I just set for tomorrow. It's in green here. Now, the other thing that makes this very convenient with Google is because Google has a really powerful search system. So let's say that you were looking for a particular contact to make a call. So let's say you were just, right, and put a 6 in the chat if you've done this before. You're in the middle of your work day, making calls, doing whatever you're doing, and it just pops into your head, I haven't called this group or this whoever in this amount of time. Man, I got this group, I ain't followed up with them in so long. Let me go ahead and call them, right? Put a 6 in the chat if that happened to you before. You don't have to figure out where they're at, when the last time you called them. All you have to do is go to the search box, right? So if the name of that group was whatever, I'm gonna pull up, any particular company or any particular thing here. Let me see. Oh, I'll just do the Southeast. I just saw that, right? I can start typing it in here, Southeast, right? So this is a call that I'm on, but Southeast Field Trainer call. If this was a contact, it would pull up. Right? And then I can pull up every time I contacted them at that point, right? So once I have them pulled up, I can click here and just pull up tomorrow, or I can pull up any date here that it shows that I have an appointment with them or that I had one with them, and I can click on that. So let's use the errands for an example, right? If I was going to pull up the errands, right, I'm gonna go down here. This is another store. The other one was blending, right? That was this one. But let's say I'm going to use this one, and I say, I'm looking for this location. I haven't contacted them in over a year, right? Hypothetically speaking. Let me follow up on them. All I have to do is go here, pull it up on my calendar, click on it. No results found. Hold on, let me do that again. Let me see if I can find another one that I can actually find. Let me see. So let's take this one, Aaron's University location. Let me see if I can find something here. So Monday, April 15th, right? So this is the account. So when I grab this way, I can go ahead and click edit, and then I can look at all the appointments I had with that particular contact, all right? It'll say here again, right, 4/3, 4/15, 4/19. So let me back out of this real quick. Don't go somewhere else. I want to search it where you can see them all listed out. All right, so now I put in errands in general, and it's showing me all appointments that have to do with errands. This is the date, this is the time of the appointment, and this is information on that appointment. So I can scroll down here and say, Blanding, Mandarin, Jacksonville, Main Street, right? It's got details from that appointment, so I can go to any one of these once I put it up, because I'll just put in errands as an account, and it's pulling up every store, even the ones that's not in Florida, right? Cleveland, Tennessee store, Federal Heights, Colorado. So any of these stores that I've serviced or had somebody else service, it'll show. And you see how far it goes back. You see I've got May of 2016, August of 2015. So these are different locations in different places. So if I click on this one, Federal Heights, it's got the details here. I can click on it here. This one looks a little bit messy, but probably just got to space it. And I'm not sure whether I put this information in or the person that was working this, I'm not sure. But it doesn't matter. It's still all the same. So this is saying February 1st, 2016 was the last time this Federal Heights, Colorado store was serviced, 11:45 to 12 p.m. So I'm looking at the history, and I can go here and say, this is the location, these are the notes, and I would just have to space it because it looks like whoever typed this in here didn't space it correctly. And I don't know who could have done this at this time, 2016. That could have been an assistant, or it could have been somebody working the account. But regardless, all I would have to do is go in here and separate it by notes. So I got notes. One of the corporate guys needs to speak with the franchise owner first when we spoke to him last on February 10th. And then I can go down here and I'll back it up and I will separate those notes. And I'm just going to separate it by notes. Oh, Chris Ward, that's who was dealing with it. Chris Ward. I had Chris Ward working this account. Some of y'all might know Chris Ward. He's been around for a long time. So Chris Ward was the one that was handling this. So I just need to separate those notes so that I see what's going on. Right? And now I've got those details here for this particular account. Now I'm gonna start one here in a second so you guys can see like how I would set that up. So this is basically just the details on the account, the phone number, blah, 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 blah. Just all details. And I can go through here and look and see what happens. So even now, if I decided I wanted to give this account to somebody else to work, or if I wanted to work it myself, say I was going to Colorado for a week because my son was stationed actually out there in the military. He was stationed in Colorado. So I could maybe be visiting my son and say, well, let me work my account that's in Colorado. And I could then say, when is the last time somebody contacted this account? Well, I know Chris Ward was the one contacted them. I know he hasn't contacted them since 2015. So now I'm kind of reintroducing myself and saying, hey, I'm Robert Dummer, blah, 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 right? So that's how that would work in that sense. But I can find any of my accounts, right, by simply going into the search bar and just typing the name of that particular account, and I can pull that contact up. So whether whatever the name of your groups are that you're looking for, you just go in here and you type it, and it's pulling them up as an account. So let me go ahead and do one from scratch. Let me create one, right? So I'm gonna use Anthony Norris Trucking, Anthony Norris Logistics, and I'm gonna go ahead and just act like this is a new account for me, so you guys can see me set it up somewhat like a CDL type account. Hold on, let me back out the search. All right, here we go. All right, so you see where it says event, guys? If you see where it says event, put a 6 in the chat. I don't know what number I'm on. I think I'm on 6. Put a 6 in the chat if you see that event, right? So I am going to click on event, and remember, in the world that we're talking about right now with us, an event is a new prospect. This is a prospect, right? And I don't want to work on it in this little dialog box. I want to see the whole picture. So I'm going to hit more options, right? And open that up. Now, add title. So this is going to be, so this is a new company. I haven't done anything with them at all. So this is going to be my first time calling on this company. So I'm going to put Anthony Norris Logistics, right? I'm going to put prospecting call. And if you want to be more detailed, you can even put first prospecting call. Sorry, it's supposed to be one. First prospecting call, right? So remember what I said. I always copy and paste that, and I put that at the top of the description down here, right? And then I always bold it. That's the top of my description. So nobody's working this account with me, so I'm not going to add any guests, right? And I'm going to call this company, right, on 9/13, which is that Tuesday, but I'm going to do it at, I don't know, let's say 11 o'clock. $11 a.m. in the morning, right? That's when I'm going to do this, 11 a.m. And I'm going to say the call is only going to take me 10 minutes, right? 15 minutes. I can say, I normally do 10-minute calls. So if you want to do 10-minute calls, see where it says 11:15, it only gives me 15-minute increments. I can just change that 11:15 to 11:10, just like that. Right, done. So that's my 10-minute call on December 13th, starting at 11 o'clock in the morning, right? Then we're going down here again, and what are we doing? None of these details are going to matter right now. It's not a repetitive call. It's just going to be one call. Then I'm going to go down here, and I want to put the location because, remember, I'm creating an event to make this be a prospect. So I'm going to put the details in there right now. So I'm going to use any address, 123 Enterprise, right? Brunswick, Georgia, right? So I'm just going to use that as an address. So it pulls that address up. Now I've got the address of this prospect in the system, right? Add notifications. 10 minutes before I make the call, I want this to let me know. And maybe I want to know an hour before I make my calls that I'm about to make calls, right? Here we go, hour before. So now I've got that in here, right? I'm setting this up. See, right? This is me preparing for my call. I would suggest you do this the night before or whatever prep time you make before you start making your calls, preferably before call time. So if you block time to call at 11 a.m. and you're going to call from 11 to 1 o'clock tomorrow or whatever day it is, then this work should come before you start making your calls because you don't want to be doing this while you should be making calls. Put a 7 in the chat if that makes sense. So this is what we're doing, right? We added our notifications. We're color coding it because it's CDLP. We're going to go ahead and drop, right, the green in here because that represents a CDLP prospect. So now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to look, and now I'm going to start adding some details. And this is where we can use these things to help, right? So I went over this before with you guys. So if I'm going to use Safer, if I use Safer to do any kind of research, I'm going to say research, right, links. And I'm going to go down here. And I can bullet point if I want to, right? And I can say, truckdriver.com. Now, in this essence, right, if I already pulled the information for this company, I would put the link directly to them here. If I haven't, I'm just going to put truckdriver.com and I'm going to go to truckdriver.com and do whatever I need to do. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want the link to be there so that I'm not doing that when it's time. Again, you want your business to be convenient for you, right? So I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the bold off of it because I don't need it to be bold, but I'm going to highlight that, right? You guys see that? I'm going to highlight truckdriver.com, and then I'm going to go up here to link, and I'm going to click link because truckdriver.com is already a website. So because I did that and I hit link, it's going to make it a live link right inside of here. So now when I get into this account, if I'm going to start doing some research, I don't have to then say, oh, let me go to truckdriver.com or where do I search at? And now I'm looking at my notes from a course I took or a training I took or where I took the notes down on a call like this. I can simply just go here and click on it and go here, and it's going to take me directly to truckdriver.com. So if I click on that link, it should open up truckdriver.com for me. I'm there. So now I'm putting everything I need in this calendar event. Now I'm not going anywhere else, which saves you time as you're working, making your calls, right? This is why I'm saying you're using this as a contact management system, because everything is right there. So what about Safer? You're saying, hey, look, I gotta do my Safer, I gotta pull the information on this company, whatever, right? So if you gotta do that, then you know what the Safer, right? So you go to Safer, you pull the information. So company snapshot, that's how we kind of do our overview. And I'm just gonna grab that link. Same thing, see that? I'm here, company snapshot. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the link from right here, copy it, and then go back to my calendar, and I'm gonna drop it. Boom, it's there, right? Go ahead and take the bold off of it, because I don't need it to be bold. If you want yours to be bold, go ahead. I just don't want y'all to be seeing all that and thinking that that's something that you need to be doing. You don't have to, right? I italicize my links just so that they look that way. So now these are my research links. Let's say, for instance, I've already pulled Anthony Norris's company. I've already pulled his statistics. I looked at his tickets and violations and citations or whatever the case may be. And I want to make sure that those are handy when I call him. Again, I don't have to leave this space to do that. I can simply say, see this attachment right here, guys? I've already pulled this information. I've already downloaded his SMS, his safety score stuff. So now I'm going to go pull it into the calendar so that it's available to me, right? So I click my attachment, add attachment. I'm now going to go to wherever I'm holding that at. If I have it in Google Drive, I'll pull it from there. If it's on my computer, wherever I keep that document at for that particular account, again, that's your computer being organized. That's another training. We're not going to talk about that right now. I'm just going to pull anything because, I'm just giving an example. So let me see. Upload. Browse. So I'm going to go to upload. I'm going to click browse. And browse is going to now open up, right, my computer. I happen to be here right now, so I'm just going to back up, and I'm going to grab any CDL thing. I'm not going to actually grab Anthony Norris Logistics because obviously that's not a company that exists right now. I'm just going to grab anything. I'm going to grab this CDLP comparison as an example. This is what I would grab. I would grab whatever safety score that I pulled and downloaded for that person. Put an 8 in the chat if this makes sense. So if I've already pulled Anthony Norris Logistics safety information, like we showed you guys in the second annual and the third annual and the fourth annual, right? I've downloaded his company information so that I can review it before I call. I've downloaded it and put it on my computer because this is a prospect of mine. Yes or yes? Now I'm adding that downloaded PDF to the calendar event, which is him as a prospect, his company as a prospect, so that I can have it handy when I'm talking to him. So now I'm downloading that particular document. Again, this is just an example. This is not really a safety score. This is a CDL comparison. I'm just using that as an example. Now you guys see it right here. So this would say Anthony Norris Logistics safety score, whatever I named it. Now I've got that here. Now I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna go ahead and just draw a line, right? Just to separate this from my next set of details that I'm gonna put here in this account. So now I'm gonna say 12/13/2022, first prospecting call. Right? Boom, that's it. That's all I'm doing there. Because I haven't done anything yet, so that's what I'm gonna be doing when I call them. I'm gonna go ahead and highlight it, bold it, and that's it. I'm done. This appointment is set up. When I get in here, if I need to pull anything off truckdriver.com, I can click here and go to it. If I need to pull anything off of Safer, I can click here and go to it. If I need to just look at the safety score information that I've already pulled, all I need to do is go here and click on it, and it's gonna open up for me. Now I've got this up while I'm talking to Anthony Norris Logistics. I've got their safety information, and I don't have to go anywhere when it's time for that call. So if I set up every prospect that way, now I'm not leaving my calendar to make calls, right? I'll make my call. I talk to Anthony Norris. I got his information in front of me. After the call is over with, I can now close that out. Done with the call, I can go down here and say, set. Let me unbold that. Is unbold a word? I don't know if that's a word. Set the appointment. Say DM. Set the DM appointment for 12/29, 2022 at 11 a.m. via Zoom. Right? That may be what happened at that appointment. Now, I've written that in the notes. So now what do I need to do? I need to go down here and make that an appointment now. So now I'm just going to copy this and paste it. I'm a big copy and paster, so y'all know, right? So now I'm going to just say, Zoom DM. And I'm going to put 12/29 because that's my next appointment, right? Now I'm going to go up here and make this the next appointment, right? So now I don't have to go and say, let me set another appointment. Nope, before I ever leave this prospect, the next appointment is on the 29th, which is that Thursday, December 29th at 11 o'clock. That DM, I may say it's going to be 30 minutes long. So it's 11 to 11:30 on December 29th, 2022. Guess what? I just set my next appointment. I made the call. I went here. I made my call. I had my details in front of me. I did what I was supposed to do, scheduled a DM, went up here, scheduled it here. Now I can save this, and I'm done. Now I go to my next call, whatever my next call is. And if I go here December 29th, guess what? The appointment is here. It's already set, already on my calendar. So when I close that out, boom, it's done. Now I'm on to my next call. You're saving time. You're working through a system that's allowing you to set one appointment after the next. Call them, talk to them, set the next appointment, and when you close that out, the next appointment is already set. So that's how I want you guys to work through using your calendar as a CRM. If you're saying, well, I have a intricate CRM already set up where I can do it, well, go ahead and do what you're doing. This is not going to be for you under that circumstance, right? You don't need to, oh, hold on, let me let somebody in here. You don't need to do this if you already have a system set up. But if you need something that like this, as opposed to getting involved in some complicated CRM and all of that kind of stuff, it's here. And you can put all your details here. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen. I know that Sharanda herself, I don't think she does it exactly that way in hers because she's got her own stuff going on the way she does things. But I know she uses her calendar to do her calls, do whatever she wants to do. Anything you want to add to that, Sharanda?
No, I just learned some stuff myself, man.
So, is there anybody on here who has used this before? That I've showed that have used that before that can unmute, that have successfully done that with their calendar to see if it's helped them at all? Raise your hand, your electronic hand. So I know
That
who
should
you
have
are.
been taught years ago.
Say that again.
That should have been taught years ago. All these
I know that's
CRMs
right.
everybody done went through.
I know that's right.
That's good
Anybody?
stuff. I mean, for real. So
Yeah,
so you just like the one with the first prospecting call. So that was your appointment, first prospecting call. So the night tomorrow, the blitz, you would go in and you would put your people in, your dials, or
right. You know what? That's a good question, Sharanda. That's a good question. So what I normally do for that, so I'm gonna get to that hand I saw up too. What I normally do for that, because that's a good question, is I normally just block the blitz time, and then I put those people in it. So let's say that this prospect was getting called on that day. Let's act like all of this didn't exist that we just did, right? But this is somebody I was gonna call on that day. I would have my block. So let's go to Tuesday, the 13th, and say, right, so the blitz. So let's go ahead and just open up. Now I'm gonna do this real quickly, right? Because we already know what the blitz is, so we don't need to put no details, right? This is the blitz, and I'm doing the blitz from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Now I'm time blocking, and it's legal shield, right? So let's just say it's gonna be red because, right, green is CDLP, but you may have red as legal shield in general. So my blitz is gonna be red, right? And matter of fact, let's say this. Let's say we use yellow for our blitz in general. This is our blitz, 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock, December 13th. Now, on your calendar, you would have repeat weekly on Tuesday. Blitz every Tuesday. You got that? You make it weekly. Weekly on Tuesday. Now it's on your calendar as a 2-hour block. I'm not going to put all the other details down here because you guys y'all already saw me do that, so I don't need to do that again, right? So, copy, I'm put that down here, blitz. Now, what I'm going to do with my blitz is, because I have that block at a specific time, now I'm just pulling things into that blitz. So this is that blitz. So let's say that call on the 29th needed to happen during the blitz. All I'm doing now is grabbing that call and saying, no, I want to do this call during the blitz. So now I'm going to take the time for this call and I'm going to change it to that blitz time, which is going to be the 13th. Right, and let's say I was going to do that call at 11:15 and go with it to 11:25. 10 minutes. I got that call in there. I go ahead and save it December 13th. And down here, of course, I would update down here, right? And I would say, because you want to document that you made this call during the blitz, because that's important for your records for later on, right? So I'm going to say 12/13/2002, follow up call during blitz, right? I've got that in there, right? So let's excuse this down here and act like that don't exist. 12/13/2022. Now I'm gonna go ahead and save that. Now it just left because guess where it went? It's inside my blitz block. You guys follow that? So now it's in here. So anybody that I'm gonna call during the blitz, I can take that prospect and put them anywhere in this 2-hour time frame, and they're gonna show up in this yellow block as a call that I'm making that day. So I don't have to document anything in the blitz. The blitz is just my call block. So nothing else goes there because I'm making calls that day. Nobody can set an appointment with me because I'm leaving this blocked off because I know I'm making calls. Who am I going to call that day? Everybody that I have lined up to call, I should have them in my calendar as a prospect. And go to each one of those people, pull them up. I'm calling Barbara. I'm going to go here. I'm going to type in Barbara's name, pull her up as a contact, and just say I'm calling her between 11 and 1 o'clock at whatever particular time for a 10-minute call. And then every one of those calls are going to be bundled up inside this yellow space. And every time I make that call and then move, if I say I'm going to call them again next blitz, when I make the call and document what happened, I put that I'm calling them next week. They're going to leave this block and go to next week's block. And when this block is empty, guess what that means? I made all my calls. Does that make sense? So you can real simply do that and keep up with it. And again, you're doing that. And while you're doing that, you're not now having to go to a CRM and put stuff, write stuff down on a sheet of paper, gather all this stuff up afterwards. And now you can keep track blitz to blitz. And if you decide you're going to do another blitz on Thursday on your own, then you can do the same thing again. Create a block on Thursday, 2 hours, boom, and do it again. Now you're blocking time and then dropping your calls in there so that you can do that in some form of a workflow. Does that make sense? All right, good stuff. So I don't know who hand I saw up. I think it's gone now, but it was yours.
That was mine.
Go ahead, brother. Did you do that on purpose? Did you have something to say, or you were just messing around?
No, when you said that, who's doing it actually, yeah, I started doing it because I do paper. I write everything down, super organized and very comfortable with that. And then just actually last week, I started doing it the way you're doing it here because just too much time. Cause I've tried to do it all at once and just trying to get used to it. So I'm transitioning to it, but it's pretty simple and easy once you get used to it. So I am transitioning to it. And actually today, when I was making calls today, what I'm putting in there, especially with the call block, I don't put everybody in there that I'm going to call. I just put if I had to set up an appointment and that was just the best time, the appointment falls in there, and I'm still working from my paper. So again, I'm just transitioning, and anything goes in the call block. It's just a reminder that I need to call because I got an appointment on that day, or if it's just a hot prospect.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that will keep everybody organized. It'll keep you from getting a CRM if you don't have. And again, I haven't even gone into other things because I just don't want to. I don't want to make it overwhelming. But remember, when you create that event inside and put that company's phone number and email in there, like I didn't even put that in there, but say I had done that. Now that's a contact in Google. So you can literally go to Google Contacts and it'll pull up every one of your prospects by name, number, and email. So it will keep all of that for you. And then guess what? If you're using Gmail to email them, now they're Google Contacts. So if you go to email and I go to email Sharanda, her email is going to pop up automatically because obviously my Gmail is connected to my Google Calendar. So if I say, let me email Sharanda, when I start typing her name in, her email is going to pull up because she's in my contacts because I added her as a prospect to call through my Google Calendar. So it's all going to just connect the way that it needs to connect. And now you can make your calls and stay in sync with everything and keep everything in one place and not go anywhere. And you can have, one tab open with the blitz with the information going on. And every time you make your call, jump back over to that blitz. Hey, I made a call, right? And then jump back over to your calendar and make your next call. Then jump back over, I made a call. And now you jump and screen to screen. Boom, 2 hours of your blitz. And again, once you get used to doing that and you're like, hey, I got this. I'm comfortable doing this. Then start adding a little bit at a time as your calendar allows you to do. Add another blitz day. Add another blitz day. If you're doing one, just adding another blitz day will double your calls. Adding another blitz day will triple your calls. So it's just about getting yourself in a position to move away from paper. Because, man, when you're doing paper and you're doing business solutions, man, that's a lot of work. We're working ourselves to death for nothing. And then again, I know how it is. You hit your office desk, and what are you doing? Oh, I'm calling somebody. Oh, what did I say last time? You flipping through yellow tablets. You flipping through everything you wrote down about everything about everybody. And sometimes you're talking to somebody about information that don't even belong to them. Because you can't keep track of all of that paperwork. And even if you do organize it on your desk, how many stacks of folders you going to have on your desk for every prospect that you call? That's ridiculous. Put it on a computer, have it there in a place where you can pull it up, type it up, search. Make your business run in the way that you want to get up and do it. Because part of the procrastination of making calls is dealing with the mess. I don't want to deal with the mess. If I know I can simply go to my calendar and type in the name of a prospect, pull them up, see every call I made, and call them again and type some stuff in there, and then set another appointment, man, that's way easier than me going through this whole process of looking for all of this stuff. So I'm just trying to help, especially going into 2023, make sure you got yourself organized, make sure you got yourself set up in a way that you can effectively make calls, you can effectively document it. And again, oh yeah, George, like George is saying in the comments, in the chat, connect it to your phone as well. Google Calendar app for your phone, same thing. You need to see anything, boom, pull up the Google Calendar app and type in the search bar any prospect, what happened the last time you called them, right? Call them. If you're sitting in a parking lot somewhere, you can call that person. And when you're done with that phone call, I called David. I have a conversation with him because I was sitting somewhere in the parking lot because I'm 15 minutes early for something else. I'll make a couple of calls. Every call I make, guess what all I got to do after I make that call? Go to Google Calendar, go there and type in what just happened on that call, and it's documented. I don't even have to be in my office in front of my computer. I can do it on my cell phone, and it's going to update right there. So it's still just as simple to do it that way as well. So that's where it's at. I thought I saw another hand up. I know we got to go here. Did I? Is it gone? Excuse me, Eileen. Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Hi, Robert. Thank you for everything. This makes sense and it is helpful. I think it will really help me get my next year off to a better start. The only question I have is, if you're doing regular prospecting and you have the prospect by PPLSI, is it recommended that we use the Google Calendar system that you've been teaching tonight for the CDLPs and do prospect for the other ones?
That's up to you. This is what I would tell you though, in generally speaking, and those that do anything with me understand it. As a business owner, always keep this in mind. You need to have control of your own prospects. So you can use Prospect by Legal Shield as much as you want. That's totally up to you. I'm not telling you not to use Prospect by Legal Shield. What I'm saying is, if you have it once, you don't have it. If you have it twice, you got it once. Does that make sense? If you got it once, you don't have it at all. If you have it twice, you got it once. What does that mean? That means that if your information for prospects are in Prospect by Legal Shield, and that's the only place you have it, then you don't have it. Because if they lock you out of that, if their system glitch, if their system go down, guess what? All your prospects are gone. If you have it twice, meaning it's in the Legal Shield system and it's in your Google Calendar, if one of those mess up, it's in the other place.
There's a backup somewhere.
Got to have a backup somewhere. And you want to have that control of what happens. If you miss, what happens, and I don't know how this works because I'm not in that situation. I don't know if you miss a payment and you can't get in the Prospect by Legal Shield. I don't know whether that's a thing or not. But if it is and you can't get in there, can you not call your prospect? If you can't make your payment and you need to call prospect to sell a membership to make a payment, how you make a payment if you can't get to your prospect? Right? If I can't call somebody to make a sale to pay my bill, then where am I at now? If you've got it in Google Calendar, you can make your calls and then pay your bill and access it there again, whatever you need to do. But just keep in mind, this is your business. Those are your prospects. And at no circumstance should social media, PPLSI, or anybody else, MailChimp, or anybody that you're using as a system, they shouldn't be able to stop you from getting to your prospects that you met and put in there. Don't ever put yourself in a position like that as a business owner. If your prospects is how you make money, nothing should come between you calling them. You should always have access to your prospects. And with Google Calendar, you don't have to worry about it because it's nothing to pay. It's free. It's in there. And it's in Google Gmail and it's everywhere else. So even if Google Calendar went down, you could go to Gmail and go to contacts and you can still pull that person up. Does that make sense? So just make sure that you got everything in a place. And I saw that George put in here. That,
absolutely makes
right,
sense.
Said,
thank you.
You got it. George put here, if they called you, you can add the notes on your device. And that's also good. Because let's say you called some people and then you left the house. And somebody called you back an hour later. If they called you back and you weren't in your home office, now that call comes back, you say whatever you say. After you hang up, you can go to your phone, click Google Calendar, and then type in that description area, got a call back from this prospect, and we scheduled another call for this day. You updated it, you move on your way, and you're good. Does that make sense? So you can always update that way in your system. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, I know it's time to go. I'm gonna turn it over to Sharanda to see if she got anything she want to mention to anybody about anything before we go. Sharanda?
Good training. That's what it's about.
So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully you guys can do a little bit of transition. It's a new year coming. Get yourself set up to succeed and to have a workflow when you're doing your stuff. Get yourself in a system that does not change so that you can concentrate on production, not keep altering the system. So that's how you want that to work. So remember, Sharanda, you go on this Thursday on your accountability?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Sharanda Ivy this Thursday, make sure that you're on the accountability call if you're a part of that. If you don't know what that is, go to the Facebook page and pull up her accountability call. And once you register for that, you'll get an email on this Thursday, saying what you need to do to get on that call. Remember, no CDLP certification this month. I don't know when it is in January. Has it dropped yet, Sharanda? You got a date on that?
Yeah, the 14th, I'll be doing it with Alan.
So Alan and Sharanda will be doing it on the 14th of January. So you guys got a date, 14th of January, Sharanda Ivy and Alan Roman for the next CDLP certification, guys. So, and I believe it's, what is it, 10 a.m., 10 to 3 on that Saturday?
Central, yeah, that's Central. Yeah, 10 to 3 Central.
10 to 3 Central time, guys. So that's where it's at. So, guys, thanks again for joining us, for sticking with us again. Yeah, George, put it in your Google Calendar. Thanks again for sticking with us, and we'll see you guys again next week, Monday, and we'll talk some more about what we can do to get better at what we're doing. So, everybody enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next Monday.
Good stuff.
See ya.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank
Have a good
you.
evening.
Thank you very much. Good stuff.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank
Absolutely,
you
absolutely.
very much.
George, you like you cold.
Thank you very much. Great call.
Appreciate it.
One of the most
Good night.
valuable calls I have experienced. Deeply appreciated.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. George, if you cold for real, I know how you feel, brother. I was just in Buffalo for about 3 or 4 days. Man, I tell you, it's nothing nice.